Hi, I'm Spencer,
And I'm Blake.
and you're about to get jumped.
Welcome to episode 259 of Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, a weekly podcast where we watch the anime so you don't have to.
But you should still totally watch the anime.
This week on Get Jumped, we're watching Naruto Shippuden episodes 296 through 300, plus the first 3 episodes of Another, where something happened in one thing and other stuff happened in the other thing.
Yeah, it's almost as if we watched these shows and episodes so long ago, and I don't know what to do with my hands when I'm talking. Anyways, let's jump in.
You said the hands thing, and I got very confused because while I can see myself being recorded, uh, and while I could not see you being recorded last week, I still did not mentally log that you are also currently visible.
It's a joke that only Mercs on camera, I guess. Um,
I
anyways,
mean, like, you
hey.
could make it on audio only. It would just be really weird.
So we are back with our actual first episode that's also on video. So if you're listening to the podcast in just podcast world, if you would rather watch our dumb faces do dumb things, you can check us out over on our YouTube channel, YouTube, where all the oods are tubes.
I hate that. I also
That's how the internet works, Blake. It's just a series of tubes.
yeah, Al Gore invented it. That's why you have the Al Gore rhythm.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible joke.
It's from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
You're Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Anyways.
Thank you so much. This being our third video episode, but our first actual video episode with content. I am moving away. My husband has been job hunting after his Air Force career, and he finally got offered a job. So we are moving from northern Colorado to Salt Lake City, Utah. And so if you notice that all of the art in my room is gone, that's why. And this will almost certainly be the last episode recorded in this location. So TBD on what my background next time might be a hotel. Who knows?
Yeah. This is if you noticed a week gap in between these two episodes, this is the reason why. Blake has to have movie time to moving. So because of that, we have our last episode was released a week late via video and via a little podcast blurb to let y'all know what was going on. And then y'all are going to be seeing this a week out, so I can edit and whatnot. But yeah,
because we have one banked for the as we are recording this, we have one banked for this current Friday that's coming up. So this is for the next Friday. So maybe I'll be in a house. I don't know. I'm stressing about getting my internet set up. So TBD.
Yeah, TBD. Anyways,
I have some news.
Wait a minute. Tell me said news.
So my first piece of news, as we record this on November 5th, 2025, my first piece of news is that the Demon Slayer movie Infinity Castle is coming soon to a theater near you on September 12th, 2025.
Yeah. So this news is dated. Blake and I watched these episodes we're talking about like a minute ago.
This keeps happening with Naruto specifically, where we watch the episodes and then something happens in our personal life. And the cadence of this is always, we have an episode sort of scheduled. I think your schedule is about to get more standardized, and mine has become more standardized recently, although more difficult to work around, but more standardized. So historically, for the last couple of years, we have been sort of like, when are you available to record? And then we will watch the episodes, and then it'll be like the day we're supposed to record and something will come up. and it
Mm-hmm.
just always seems to happen on a Naruto episode where we've already watched them, and then like a month or more will go by between watching them and actually talking about them, and we're just
Yeah.
sort of like reading the notes and being like, "What was that? Oh yeah,
Yeah. Well, anyways, the Chainsaw Man movie just came out too. I haven't seen it
oh
yet.
yeah,
Um,
Chainsaw Man."
and then I didn't know that Seven Deadly Sins was getting a video game.
Yeah,
Are
who knows if it's
isn't
out
that
already?
isn't all of the hype about that show just gone at this point?
uh, it is. It does feel like whatever striking while the iron is no longer hot. So they are. Is it a PS? It's a
Taking a
PS5.
hammer against a tin roof that's already on a house.
This is a PS5 game that is coming out. It is a free to play open world RPG launching
Hmm.
on PS5 in January 28th of 2026. It is called The Seven Deadly Sins Origin. And you are playing as Tristan. You uncover a brand new story and team up or go solo with real time combat and familiar faces. So you
Yeah.
can pre order or wish this on the PlayStation Store. And yeah, the trailer looks pretty fun. Like, it's got solid graphics.
Hmm.
The fact that it is a free to play RPG means that it's probably going to be really microtransaction-y, but like with that
Yeah.
in mind, the trailer looks good. The combat looks pretty fun. So, it might be worth checking out. Since it will be free, if you have a PS5, you can probably just hop in there without too much of a cost, but they will probably be nickel and diming you if I had to guess. So,
They're they're
you know,
absolutely going to be nickel and diming you.
uh-huh.
But
But it looks
anyways,
cool. So if that's your jam, if you've got some money to burn, or if you're happy to, miss out on a bunch of shit or be super far behind on progression and just play for free, this might be an option. I don't have any details up here of like what their monetization strategy is going to be, but the trailer is really cool. So check it out if you're interested.
yeah, they released that Yu Yu Hakusho game that was supposed to be one of those same things too.
What?
And I tried to play it for a little bit, and I was just like, oh man, like it's fun until they start battering you over the head with the fact that you have to, in order to advance and play as much as you want, you owe them money, sort of
Yeah.
situation. And I'm just like, I can't. I don't know if I can do that. I have recently been spending time like learning all of these new games that are being released as like little tiny indie games. Mostly because if you paid attention to a little bit of our social media, I'm doing like voice acting work stuff. So I'm auditioning for a lot of that kind of stuff. And because of that, I'm like, I need to get more versed in these people's worlds of these little tiny games that sometimes grow up to be big, tall games. Um, and I think that I am having more fun with indie games that are just weird enough to not be mainstream. That I'm just like, I don't think that the mainstream ones are blowing me away anymore.
Hmm.
Um, but maybe that's maybe that's just me experiencing something that every other gamer has already experienced before. But you know,
Yeah.
as somebody who doesn't game as much game as you can game, I play less games than everybody else.
Yeah, I'm not much of a gamer either. I have a lot of games, but I mostly just play Pokemon.
Yeah. Anyways,
Um,
let's talk about our screen time that we watched. Man, it's another. It
mhm.
was suggested to us from our Discord. A reminder to anybody that's new here, or I guess it wouldn't be a reminder if you're new here, but a welcome to
Yeah,
anybody
that's
who's
true.
new here, and a
News to the
reminder to the people
newsies.
that have maybe, yeah. Um, but our Discord suggests shows for us to watch. So if you want to jump in there and you want to suggest, you absolutely should. And so this is suggested to us by one of our Discord users who goes by the handle Booty Stink.
Mhm.
Um, and man, tell us a little bit about another and where it came from.
Well, I'll tell you the blurbs that I pulled of information. Another is a 2012 adult animated horror TV series produced by PA Works. It aired 12 episodes from January 10th through March 27th of 2012. There was a 2009 novel of the same name written by Yukito Ayatsuji. The series, it's set in 1998, and it focuses on a boy named Koichi who transfers to a middle school out in the country and meets a mysterious girl named May. He then finds himself sort of involved in some mysterious happenings. There are rumors of a kid that died, and it starts to be revealed that like maybe May was that kid and maybe she's a ghost. And then
Yeah.
people start dying around him in really
Yeah.
horrible sudden ways. So
Yeah.
and the
This
novel,
is
I believe this is a regular novel, not a light novel.
mhm.
So
I think so as well. That's what I was seeing when I pulled it up. It looked like it was it looked like and also feels like something that was written with a lot of adjectives that explain how you're feeling when you're going through things.
yeah.
And I found myself not not enjoying the show,
Hmm.
mostly because of the pace of the show as something that is an anime in a specific style didn't move me, and I
Okay.
know that it's because of the animation style. It is not because of the quality of the show or the writing, and it made me just want to pick it up and read it as a thriller book. And I looked it up immediately after we watched the episodes that we watched, and I was just like, yeah, after reading this sample chapter, it reads much more like something I would want to read than watch.
Okay, I also tried to find it, but just on I think like Spotify audiobooks, and it was not available for free. So I
Mm,
was like, well, there goes that. Um,
yeah.
I don't remember having a problem with the art style on this. I do think the pacing was a little slow.
Mm,
And I will say, when I found out that this was only 12 episodes, it felt like the first three episodes could conceivably have been combined into two or even one episodes. As far as
yeah.
it would have a lot to cover if you combined those three into one. It's not like nothing
Mhm.
is happening, but like this blurb about what the novel is about includes the students around our main character falling prey to gruesome sudden deaths, and the first one of those happens at the end of episode 3.
Yeah,
And
I
it's like,
also,
if that's your series hook and you've only got 12
yeah.
episodes, don't wait 25% of the way to do it, you know?
Hmm. You know what? You know what I thought about it when I was watching it. I was just like, this would be a really fun live action adaptation that
Yes.
was done in like one like the style of did you watch gosh, what is it called? I think it's like Lovecraft County. I've only watched the first like two episodes of it, but
Hmm.
like watching that, like that HBO show, I was just like, this could be done in that style, and it would be great.
Yeah, I have not seen that show, but I do think that this would make this is definitely the type of story that would work really well in live action, or the animation medium isn't really allowing them to get away with anything they couldn't do on a movie or TV budget, especially not TV shows these days. This would actually probably be a
Hmm.
very cheap TV show to produce because they're not doing a lot of, in the first 3 episodes at least, they're not doing a lot of like spooky, like the spooky stuff is the fact that she is a ghost, but
Hmm.
she's not appearing like a ghost. She's not hanging off the ceilings or see through or anything like that. She just seems like a regular student that he's interacting with, and everybody else is
Hmm.
hella cagey about it, and then she's dead, and
Yeah.
so you could totally do a
It
live action of this. i
it
i, I thought
it
this
really
was like,
feels like it wants more mood music and also like sweeping shots and stuff
mm,
like that you can do with live action that you can do in anime. But like, man, you really need somebody like oh gosh, what is his name? The guy who did what is the name of it? Like Uzumaki, I think is what it is.
oh yeah, Junji Ito.
Yeah, man. If you had something that, like that style that you could do where it's super it's like super creepy animation style, or the one that I usually suggest to people that are like I like horror and weird mind, like really weird mind fucks with my anime or with what I'm ever going to watch. I always tell people like pick up Paranoia Agent and you won't have like a bad time.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this was good. I felt like it was a little slow, but it's a horror mystery, I guess. Like, you don't know exactly what. Like, everybody at this school seems to know what happened to this person, except the main character, because he just transferred there. And they
Mm.
are not telling him. And so it seems like there is some big mystery or reveal that's coming down the pipe. And the ghost seems to have a connection with him or want something from him. And so, like, I think what it's doing works fine, but my sense of getting to the end of episode 3 and being like, that was a quarter of it, was like, it didn't feel like we were really out of act 1, and at that point you should be well into act 2. So I'm just
Mhm.
kind of like not quite sure where it's going. I would watch the rest of it. I think it was interesting. I'm curious about what happened. I didn't find any of it to be particularly objectionable. I have a hard time with gruesome deaths, especially with likable or innocent characters. And it seems like that's going to be the bread and butter of this show. But like, I think I would. I think I could vibe on this for 12 episodes. And on the other hand, I definitely was kind of perplexed by some of the decisions that they made.
Yeah. Well, with that,
Oh no.
we have our recommendations from our show of the week that we watched, and let's go ahead and get into what happened previously on Naruto Shippuden.
Uh, who knows is my answer first. I know. Here's what I can tell you. Naruto is the main character. He wants to be a ninja. He started out as a ninja in training. These days, he's a proper ninja, and he's getting stronger and
Yeah,
stronger. He
he
has a
wanted to be the very best,
like no
like no
one
one ever
ever
was.
was. Uh, he started out. Well, he has a giant fox demon locked away inside of him because of a big tragedy
He's a
when he
Pokeball.
was a baby. He is a Pokeball. And the fox demon is not friendly with him, but maybe they're coming to terms with each other. So the
Yeah.
fox demon has been a problem that he just kind of works around throughout the series. But now, thanks to the mentorship of another demon Pokeball person, uh,
Yeah.
he is figuring out how to work with the monster inside of him, and that's making him significantly more powerful. And meanwhile, there's a gigantic war going on. There is a villain named Toby from an organization called the Akatsuki that has been going around and capturing the people that have demons inside of them and killing those people as a side effect of taking the demon out of their body and locking it away in a little statue. And
Mm-hmm.
Naruto and his mentor Killer B are the only two left. And so this guy Toby, who has now been revealed to be the definitely should be dead by now Madara Uchiha, he is gonna start a war to get those last monsters so that he can enact his plan, which I believe we have had described to us, which is essentially I'm gonna cast a gigantic illusion jutsu over the entire world by bouncing my ninjutsu off the moon so
Mm.
that everyone can basically be in a dream world that I create.
Yeah.
Everybody does not want to live in his dream world, so all of the villages have banded together to say no thank you. And now
Yeah.
there's a big war happening, and we have been sort of bouncing around from different characters, having various fights of varying levels of interest. And now Naruto is making his way back to the war. I think it looks like the last thing that happened was that Naruto and Killer Bee were waylaid on their way to the war, And
Mm-hmm.
I, who is the leader of the village the Killer Bee comes from, and Tsunade, who is the leader of the village the Naruto comes from, met up with them and were disagreeing on whether or not they should join the war. And then they came to an agreement through conflict, and now Naruto and Bee are on their way to join the war proper.
Yeah. I like legitimately had a moment while you were talking about that where all I could think about was just like, oh man, we should like turn this into a segment that's just like Blake's book report. Like you have to turn it in. And I definitely want to like re-add the timer at the bottom of the screen
Uh
so
huh.
you can like feel the sweat.
Wait, you want me to see the timer?
Yeah, I've thought about this. Anyways, we're going to be starting with episode 296, Naruto Enters the Battle. And B and Naruto are jumping in, and they're going to be fighting against. The White Zetsus really are just like putties from Power Rangers at this point.
Yes. Yep.
Like,
That's
they're there
such a
to
good
be punched.
analogy. Because the putties, when they first show up, when the putties first show up, they're dangerous, and
Mm-hmm.
by like an episode and a half later, they're nothing.
Yeah.
And periodically, they're dangerous again, and that's pretty much how the White Zetsu works. Like, Zetsu's
Yeah.
super dangerous, and the first time you see the White Zetsus, they're a big problem, and then for almost every other appearance, they are just the answer to how do these two bad guys have an army when all the rest of the nations have already banded together with each other. And it is
Yeah.
because one guy can make a bunch of copies of himself and they can fill in the screen.
Yeah, right. And that's the sort of the same style that Naruto is going to come up with here, where he's just like, it's a good idea to send people to different places. Wouldn't it be better if there were more of me going to different places?
Uh
And they're
huh.
just like, yes, that is a good idea. Please do that. And he's just like, okay, that's what I'll do. And so he sends out his shadow clones to go do other work, while he gets to stay and just reap the benefits.
Yeah, this is an. I like this from the standpoint of showing that his power up is giving him new abilities because he has always been proficient at the shadow clone technique, but uh, it is well known at this point in the series that the shadow clone technique is an uncommon technique because it takes a lot of energy from the user, specifically chakra, in this universe. So you have to really have a bunch of energy to make it happen in the first place, and then you have to maintain it with a bunch of energy. So being able to create multiple copies of yourself, like Naruto can do, is already a bit of a Herculean feat. Having them sustain themselves over an extended period of time and then spread out over a long distance would, I think, be completely unheard of at this point for any other
Mm-hmm.
ninja. And really, this is just the result of Naruto finally being able to match his chakra with the essentially endless amount of chakra that the giant fox demon has, and to be able to
Mm-hmm.
pull on that properly.
Yeah, there is a bit of segue in between these like two moments where B and Naruto show up so that they can beat the crap out of a reincarnated person.
Yeah, can I
And
just tell you,
that's
reading through these notes, because it's been so long since I watched these episodes, I read the phrase Naruto and B arrive to save Musai and Nonada from the reincarnated Toroi. And I was like, I don't know who any of those people are, and I don't have a visual image. It's been too long. I don't know who they are.
okay. Well, the segue in between is them going to ninja science class, where they're going to be dissecting a ninja, which is what you have instead of frogs in Ninja World. Um, so they are taking it apart. They're getting more information, and then that is just it just feels like a small piece of information to get us to the next thing, which is that the fourth division are battling against a bunch of Kages that are going to fight against Gara and who else is there? I really can only remember Gara and the old man.
Yeah, Gara and Onoki are there, and they are kind of the only people that are really
Yeah,
active.
I think everybody else is just mooks, isn't it? Like just like a bunch of just people
Basically,
that are red shirts.
I think that Tamari is part of the Mooks. I think she's there, but as far as like Tamari is sort of like a lower general, like Gara and Onoki are leading this massive force. Tamari is seen sort of like as a leader of like a segment of the force, so she's there. And she's a relevant character, but as far as this force coming into conflict with these reincarnated Kage, it really seems like Gara and Onoki are the only ones that matter.
Yeah, they really are, and like even the Kages that they're fighting against, one of them is just a memory piece for Gara, and
Yeah,
it is his father who was one of the Kages that was, you know, killed and then reincarnated, and he has this ability that seems sort of cool. But then it really isn't used to its fullest. The fight sequence between Gara and his father is real boring. The only reason that you're there really is so that you can learn more about how Gara was treated horribly as a child, and that he got to be an adult with friends. And that's he defeats his father with the power of friendship. So
yeah.
yeah.
There's some retconning happening here that I don't know
Oh yeah.
works super well. In the original telling, Gara is has an attempt on his life made by the person that he looks up to the most,
Mm-hmm.
and it sends him down a dark spiral because he he is one of the people that has a giant demon locked away inside of him, and he realizes that even people who love him or who act like they love him only see him as a monster and will take the opportunity to rid themselves of that monster when they get the chance. And
Yeah.
this leads to his his initial introduction as a villain is an aspect of being disillusioned about the fact that like love is a lie and that killing is the only thing that matters basically.
Mm-hmm.
And in this moment they sort of retcon it to make it more they're trying to make it almost like this was also done out of love, and I it's a bit like twisting yourselves into knots for me. Like, just leave the story like it was, it's fine.
Yeah. And so he's gonna be shocked that his son no longer has the tailed beast. We're gonna get a quick moment where you relive Gara dying and being reincarnated, not reincarnated, but brought back to life after it was ripped out of
Oh,
him.
tomato tomato.
Meanwhile, there's a much cooler battle that's annoyingly cut off over and over again because we have to watch this stuff about Gara,
Yeah,
which is just Inoki versus Mu, which is like they're throwing big giant gravity particle things at each other, which is super sweet.
yeah,
And
their
also
powers are
just makes me want to play that
basically,
video game again.
oh, so much fun. Their powers are kind of localized black holes. So
Hmm.
they're just throwing don't touch that's at each other.
Yeah,
And
and also Mu is just like I'm an invisible man.
all right, we'll move on to 297, I think,
Yeah,
right?
a father's hope, a mother's love.
This might be
This
the
episode
Is this the retcon episode?
Yes, this episode is not interesting.
No.
Unless you're really into watching the backstory of Gara again rewritten so that he can have um, a nice moment with his dad before he gets sealed. Um, it's I don't like this episode. And
Yeah,
it's not just because I like explosions and punches. It's because the episode feels like it is wiping away something that we have learned before in a very hand wavy way that feels obnoxious to like the
yeah.
person, like everybody who has followed along with this character and watched him change like and grow as this character needs his father to be the villain he needs to be. And it's just like the if he doesn't have like that villain directly into his life that was the person that pushed him and like his society around him pushed him into being who he is, it
Yeah.
just it takes away so much of his character growth, where it's just like you had perceived that everybody hated you and wanted to kill you, but secretly it was okay because you had these people that actually cared about you. And it's just like,
Yeah.
no, you bastard. Like,
And part
nobody cared about him. That's the whole thing with him
right.
and Naruto. Like, that's why they connected.
And part of it is that his mother is said to have hated him because she dies
Yes.
in childbirth or very shortly thereafter. And so this was part of that betrayal of this person that he loved and looked up to the most in the world was because that was what, his uncle or something. And this guy was basically like, I hate you because she's dead because of you, but also
Mm-hmm.
she hated you.
Yes.
And that's part of what breaks Gara, and that's part of the backstory that you learn about him as a villain. And so this is essentially taking all that away, and I strongly agree. It's what I think is nice here is that
Mm-hmm.
the revived Kazekage realizes that what he was doing was making Gara worse off and not better off. And that Gara got better in spite of him. And he has a moment of happiness and pride that his son was able to overcome this obstacle that he set up, I guess, with the best of intentions. But, like, yeah, what makes Gara such a cool character? I mean, Gara is a cool character. Like, he's good character design. His power is interesting, and he's a
Mm-hmm.
very spooky villain when you meet him. But what works so well about Gara is that his backstory hits pretty well. It makes sense with the character that you meet, and then the way that Naruto wins their fight, it's one of the best examples of Naruto's talk no jutsu working in a way that makes sense. And it is that
Mm-hmm.
idea that Gara is a dark reflection of Naruto. They are both the hosts of a tailed beast. They are both rejected by the society that they grew up in. And in Naruto's case, it made him strive for acceptance. And in Gara's case, it made him reject acceptance. And so their
Yeah.
battle with one another becomes a conflict over that core ideal of how do you react to a world that's mistreated you. And
Mm-hmm.
Naruto wins. And after winning, Garuto rehabilitates so much that he becomes the leader of the society that grew up hating him. And
Yeah.
so
And
to
it also like is such a missed opportunity.
yeah,
Like, it is a missed opportunity to have like pure unadulterated hatred towards one thing being blanked out by someone who has learned the ability to relieve himself of his hatred and to find kinship with the people that used to hate him. It's just like it's just it, it it's a like misjustice. It's so frustrating that
yeah,
like the way that they did this feels so hand wavy, and it feels like it is over very fast and in a way that just feels like they came up with a good idea for the parents, and then they were just like, we're gonna copy and paste this as many times as we can inside of the show so that we can just get this over with and get a bow tied on Gara so that we don't actually have to talk about Gara anymore. Because like after this, I don't remember, like it's been a long time since I watched the anime and read the
uh-huh.
manga, but like I don't remember Gara being important past this moment.
I don't either.
And like I am pretty sure what they have done in this moment with this, the way that they have ended this, is bow tied him so that they can shelve him. And it's
Yeah,
just like, okay, but like it doesn't feel fair to this character who has had like such a monumental impact on your main character, to just be shelved like that until the very end, just because they're just like, well, I mean, like we're gonna pull Sasuke back out of the box here in a little bit. Get
yeah.
excited about that.
But for Gara, it's so frustrating because it's like he's interesting and he's such a good and enduring character because he has to make character growth against all odds. And this
Mm-hmm.
retcon is kind of saying the character growth you've made was a misunderstanding. And that just does not feel like, even if you don't really know the details, doesn't that sentence just suck a bunch? Like, that just doesn't
Hmm.
feel good. Like, this character that you have seen really fucking go through it and then work through it and come out the other end so much better off. And then for somebody to come along and be like, all of the work that you did was based on a misunderstanding, and that
Yeah.
misunderstanding might have been my fault, but anyway, the core of your being is a lie.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, there are plenty of stories about the core of your being a lie, but that's not the happy ending of the story. And they play it like that, and there's this whole thing where Gara is like, learning the truth of my mother's love is great, but but the context that the recontextualization of my impression of you is going to heal my heart. And Gara like forgives his dad, and then his
Dad, I
dad,
forgive you.
it,
Son, I love you now.
I
Okay,
forgive
go away.
you.
Die now.
Yeah, so he forgives his dad, and then his dad gets sealed away and is like happy because, like, oh, the future is in good hands. And it's like, number one, that's not a beat we haven't seen before in this arc. But number two, like, it's just so frustrating because it's like, okay, all this work you've done has just been undermined by this revelation. And not that you should do the work again, and not that you should take that away or renege on it, but like, that's just so frustrating as a viewer for the creator to sort of mishandle that storytelling so badly. And
Hmm.
also, just a personal soapbox, like, this is easier said than done, but it's good advice. Closure is something you do for yourself. It's not something somebody does for you. Like, closure is not a gift that you receive from another person. It is a process that you have to enact yourself. And
Hmm.
this is just not, this is just the opposite of that. This is Gara receiving the closure that he already had up until this moment from the person that tormented him the most, and I hate it.
Yeah. That takes us into our next episode, episode 298, Contact, Naruto versus Itachi.
Oh yeah.
These episodes that you're going to get into real quick here, not only are they great, but these episodes also have like a use of a power that is so fucking cool in the way that like Itachi as a character would have thought ahead in the way that he plays things is fucking fantastic, which
Mm-hmm.
is like
Should be an
apparently
asshole, but it
so
works.
it totally works. Anyways, so they get confronted by Nagato and Itachi. Nagato, if you've forgotten, is Pain.
Uh-huh.
We mentioned him many times before. So Itachi is going to have a moment that he is going to start the fight with Naruto and Killer Bee, and then something batshit happens on screen, which is that like all of a sudden Naruto has like a fucking crow that appears out of his fucking face,
Uh-huh. He
and it's just
vomits a
like
bird
this
out.
this is like a horrifying moment where you're just like, what the hell is happening? And you're like, well, it's Itachi, it's probably a genjutsu, and he's like hallucinating doing this. No, it turns out that Itachi buried in Naruto a seal that was going to release Itachi from the jutsu that is sealing his soul to his body and also sealing it to whoever would bring his body back to life and control him, so
Uh-huh.
that now his soul is just attached to his body and alive again, so he can control himself. It's so cool,
Yeah,
and it's like such.
if you, like me, don't remember anything about Naruto, this jutsu that brings back all these people also leaves them susceptible to having their will usurped from afar by Kabuto. And so
Mhm.
Itachi just basically has Uno reverse on this and is like, nope,
Yes.
counterspell, you can't do that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They kind of, neither of these characters really wants to fight Naruto because Naruto has only, like, they weren't allies, but Naruto has is in a good place with both of these dudes at the time of their deaths. And so Kabuto can't get them to attack him without taking over. And Itachi just
Hmm.
has this little failsafe built in, which is so cool. And also is they do a good job of pre-planning this. And who knows if the author knew what he was doing when this happened, because it was many chapters and episodes ago. But when Naruto and Itachi last met, Itachi hit him with a genjutsu, and you saw like a Sharingan eye crow like fly into Naruto's mouth, and then nothing came of it, and it was because it was this like long con, and that's so satisfying.
Yeah. And then that's going to take the rest of this episode feeds directly into the next episode. So like that is the big revelation from this episode. The next part is that Nagato doesn't have that. That takes us into episode 299, the acknowledged one, where these two episodes are going to finally finish, which is that Nagato is being fully controlled by Kabuto. He has lost all sense of self. And as you remember before with Pain, all of the different parts of Pain that he used have these different abilities. Well, Nagato is going to use all of the abilities interchangeably as himself, making him this like uber powerful ninja, which needs two tailed beast users and Itachi in order to take him down. Because like one of the big things that tailed beasts have like their superpower is that they are full of chakra and they are able to use all these crazy abilities because of that. However, the problem with Nagato is that one of his abilities as Pain, as the user of the six pass, he is able, or the Renegon, he is able to use a absorption jutsu, which is going to be absorbing so much of their life energy and power that he is going to like regenerate himself until he becomes like more and more and more powerful, until he's like, I don't know, he's nigh indestructible at some point. And I legitimately forgot how this fight ends. So I was really really on the edge of my seat watching it.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like these are two super powerful characters, but they were at least at least uh tentatively allied with each other. Sort of the alliance of powerful villains, so you're never quite sure if they're going to turn on one another, but these guys were
Mm-hmm.
in step with each other while they were alive, and so it is very cool to see them fighting each other, because they are both sort of built to be end bosses a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
yeah, go for it.
Nagato is going to use his big giant ability when he gets knocked away. So one of his abilities is that he's going to summon a whole bunch, I think in this point he only summons two, but one of his abilities is he can summon these really big giant summons. One of them is a chameleon, one of them is a dog that like the more heads you cut off, the more come back, like a um uh not a chimera, but a hydra.
Hydra. Oh
And
yeah,
so,
yeah. Oh, the
as like a
dog.
hydra
Yeah.
dog, you have to just keep on cutting its heads off and all that kind of stuff. Um, they are going to have a trouble dealing with them until they are at a point where they are pinned down and just going to be able to get close enough to strike Nagato, and that's when they get their chakra stolen. And he starts to regenerate, and he starts to reabsorb their powers until he is going to probably absorb their souls out of their bodies, as well as being able to rip the tailed beasts out of their bodies. This gets broken off by Itachi. They then get thrown into the air by the weird technique that I don't really
The
I never
almighty
understood
push,
this
right?
technique. Yeah, it's almighty push and pull at the same time, which makes like a black hole that pulls together like a big giant meteor.
It's sort
And
of
it made
gravity,
sense.
sort of.
Yeah, well, it made sense the first time he did it because his goal was to destroy the village hidden in the leaf, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like he needed a meteor to come down and crush it. So the thing is, though, like they don't need this at this point. The only really thing it's doing is giving the tailed beast users the ability to fire beast bombs into it to blow it up. Because the only way you can destroy one bomb is with another two bombs.
Mm-hmm.
But
Metaphor.
instead, They blow it up. They are getting ready to fight, and then you realize that Itachi is ahead of the game, and he is able to pierce into Nagato with his big giant. God, what is the name of that
The
thing?
Susanoo.
Um, yeah, he uses its big giant sword to stab through Nagato with far enough away that he is not able to um, come back from this, and he becomes sealed because one of the sword's abilities, isn't it, is like a sealing sword?
Yeah, I don't 100% know off the top of my head what the rules are, but yeah, the sword, the being pierced by the sword, um, severs the connection that Nagato had to Kabuto and the reincarnation jutsu. So
Mm-hmm.
whether the sealing is of the soul of what's pierced, or if it's just sort of like locking down the chakra lines or something like that, it has the effect of allowing Nagato to come back to his senses to say some final words before he disintegrates.
Yeah. And at the end of it, they are going to decide that they need to go over and they need to help more people. But it turns out that in this fight with Nagato, they have been basically spent of their energy because so much of it was used in order to bring him down, and that leads to us having another segue to leave them and go back to the big Kage fight that's happening in episode 300, the Mitsukage, the giant clam, and the mirage.
Uh huh.
Let's talk about a character that I hate,
Uh huh. I'm
and
I'm
it's
comfortable going there with you.
yeah, Bubble Man is a character that should be shelved back into the characters that don't work.
Uh huh.
Um, his ability is that he makes mirages and also bubbles that pop and hurt you. And he also summons a giant clam that makes mirages. And all the while, they're trying to do this joke over and over again. I don't know if it's fully a joke, but it's like this thing that he keeps on saying, which is just like you're not doing the right thing. I'm telling you to do the right thing. Don't trust your eyes. Don't trust your eyes. Don't trust your eyes.
Yeah,
And man,
specifically
he
because
kills so many red shirts.
yeah,
And the red shirts are like, "What should we do, teacher?" And he's just like, "Listen to me. Don't listen to me."
yeah, his he's trying to metagame out the fact that his ability creates illusions. I guess it's a type of genjutsu, but it's a very effective illusion. Uh, but as we have seen with these reincarnated people, they are reincarnated as themselves. And then Kabuto can take over and basically turn them into mindless murder zombies if he wants to. That's what he did with Nagato in the fight that we just talked about. Here, he has not done this. And the second Mizukage does not want to kill these people. And so he is trying to say, hey, this is how my power works. Please avoid it by using this specific technique. And they just can't. Uh, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like they're red shirted, so I understand that we need to see how his power works. I understand that he's a dangerous character in the middle of a war, and that, you know, having characters that you can kill off is a way to reinforce that. But, like, the way that it's done here feels very jokey, and it feels very stretched to fill time. And it's just like, okay, like, this power isn't that visually interesting, and it's not that narratively interesting. So this is all
Hmm.
they could think of to do with it, which isn't nothing, but it doesn't sustain itself for the amount of time it's done.
Yeah. Naruto, one of his shadow clones is going to show up. It's going to be enough to turn the tide in Inoki and Mu's battle. And Gar is also going to show up to help turn the tide, and they're going to strike Mu down and seal him. He is telling them a grave warning when he runs out of time and is sealed.
Uh huh.
And
TBD.
they they come and they break the big giant clam, and then right after they break the big giant clam, the Mitsukage is just like, "Oh no, I'm using my finger gun to finger gun you," and so he does,
Uh huh.
and he dies. You think maybe, but maybe not. I have a really low tolerance now for like anime episodes that are so fucking medium in comparison to like two amazing episodes in between that
Hmm.
it's just like this episode left me with such a bad taste in my mouth because like these characters I feel like were being undercut with the coolness that they could have done with the animation if they were characters that were important enough to put the time and animation effort into. Because it felt very much like it was not something that they were like, these are the important episodes. They felt like the throwaway episodes to move on.
Yeah, and
And I just,
to me, from a pacing standpoint, it just seems like out of order. Like this one coming after the fight that we just watched, we could have watched the Shadow Clone go to this fight first because we were already at this fight with the Gara thing. And the Shadow Clone could have just arrived, and then we could have moved on to the more interesting thing afterward. It just seems like Naruto as a whole in the past has been pretty good at like building on itself over the course of an arc. And
mm-hmm,
here it just feels like the shape of this war arc is so open-ended and kind of shaggy that like
mm-hmm,
you have just random characters that have been mentioned, characters that have been created for this. You're just able to sort of like throw ideas out there and then do it's very episodic in a way that the series has not been. And
mm-hmm.
that episodic nature, even though it is still technically building on itself, it feels like each encounter is disconnected from any of the other encounters in a majority of ways. And then you get these experiences where it's like, oh wow, Naruto just had a team up battle with Itachi as his ally. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then you have this fucking guy who
Mm-hmm.
is kind of boring and is sort of a comedy character, I guess. And it's just like
Yeah.
the pacing is just off because it's not building on itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's a low note to leave this episode on. But hey, sometimes that happens with the show.
Yeah, we're just trying to get
And
through it, man.
we yeah, so stick with us.
Yeah.
I have
Hey, we
brand
hit
new credits that are coming here in a minute.
ooh,
Um,
and we hit
and
Shippuden
then
episode 300, so only like 450 more to go.
oh yeah. So not that much. Anyways, stick with us after these brand new credits and hear what's coming on next week.
Next time, for patrons, we are watching Bleach episodes 118 through 121, and then after that, we return to our regularly scheduled programming with Jujutsu Kaisen episodes 36 through 39.
Yeah, we're going to be watching some Bleach episodes that are really good.
Thank God.
And if you want to be a part of that, you should join the rekindled world of Patreon.
The Patron!
And if you want, you can get with the finger licking good episodes that are Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh my God.